positions, is we've discussed which is more important, the IT or the county manager. And I think if we look at that and we go forward in the budget, decide, because I don't think we can do both. But maybe we should probably look at which one would work better, because there's one's 176,000, the other's 111,000, and which one might be in the best interest of the county to go that, and maybe use that to see, move forward, say, okay, we decided to go with the county manager, we decided to go with the IT guy, so that as a commission, we can kind of move our budget process forward, either adding or eliminating or whatever we're gonna do, but those two items, I think, are the biggest dollar items, we need to really look at that.
Okay.
Yeah, and we keep kicking this county manager thing down the road, and once again, I think with what we're facing this year, that one's gonna be probably top of the heap to get kicked off, but the IT person, when you consider our contract expense, I think that's gonna be easily the most fundable if we decide to go that way.
Right, and I think that's a good way to look at it, is to try to say, okay, we can do this one this year.
Yeah,
and I think
that
that's
could be even more, I mean, very cost effective. That could really
I
give us
brought it up
a
the
net
last
gain.
time when we talked about it, that
So-
that's how I felt was more important.
As we move forward in the budget, we look at, okay, here we're squeezed down, this is going out, and we're gonna look at IT, or whatever we're gonna look at. Okay, that's the only thing I had. Anybody else got anything else on what we've gone through with Elizabeth? We can move this meeting along, if that's okay with everybody. Are you done, Elizabeth? You think you covered everything?
Well, covered everything for today, yes.
Okay.
And I didn't, maybe I didn't look, I didn't see the increase so far as, justice court wage.
No, I did not, you asked me for various scenarios, and I did not provide that. I apologize.
That's the only one that I was looking at. And I know that, I think that maybe Travis brought it up also, at one of the last budget hearings that we had.
Anyone else? Okay, let's move this meeting along. You're good, Elizabeth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna go to page 3, item 2. Let's see if we can vote on that.
Behind, yeah.
No, we're gonna go to page 3, item 2, which is discussion for possible action, the approval of the minutes from the special joint county commission meeting and fire commission meeting and budget workshop that was held on March 8th, 2021. Are there any additions, subtractions, or corrections?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Lori,
March 8th.
Second.
second by Shane. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Last item in this is public comment. Is there any public comment on the phone about what we just discussed in the budget workshop? Anybody, Mike? Okay, seeing none, in the audience. George, you got anything you want to add?
If you hire a county manager, you need to get rid of 2 county commissioners. You guys are top heavy as it is now.
Thank you for that comment.
Not a problem.
All right, anybody else in the audience? Hearing none, we're gonna reset, we're gonna close this special joint meeting, and we're gonna reopen the county commission meeting, and at this time, we'll take a quick 5-minute break. I already took my advantage of mine, so.
And you stay here and work.
I'll stay here. I'll stay here. We'll take 5 minutes and we'll come back to page 3, and that's the 10 o'clock, still around 17 here. Good. What we're going to do is we're going to go to page, real quick, we're going to go to page 4, item F, which is the building department. We'll get to that out of the way and then go back to the 10:15. So on page 4, the 10:30 is the building department. Item 1 is a public hearing. It's discussion for possible action, the approval of a petition for vacation and abandonment of a road or easement. The property that the petitioner would like to abandon borders APN 005-117-04. And it is described as a 20-foot strip along the southern boundary of Lot 12, Lot 14 of Elbow Street, and a 10-foot strip along the westerly boundary line of Lots 10 and 11 and 12, Block 14 of Sable Avenue of the Baker Town Site, Baker, Nevada. The petitioner is Adrian I. Joy, Buzz Roosevelt representing. Buzz?
Good morning, Commission. Buzz Roosevelt, Basin Engineering. Adrian has a couple of encroachments into the existing right-of-way that was inherited when she bought the property. Her purpose in this was just cleaning her estate up, making sure she didn't have any encroachments as she starts to divide the little estate up. We got through the process with the RPC. It did take some time. We got them to recommend approval. And I would ask any questions about the abandonment that haven't been addressed at this time.
Has there been any opposition by any of the neighbors?
We have not heard of any opposition from any neighbors. The utilities from the GID are outside of this abandonment. They had no issues. Road department, I can't remember what their recommendation was, but it doesn't affect the existing road. This has been a long time encroachment with fence out in the right of way for over 50 years. It's just something that she inherited and wants to get it cleaned up.
So, just real quick, there was discussion at the RPC meeting where they talked about, and I don't think you were there, Buzz, but they were talking about having the level grid on. If that changes, then down the road, the other ones are gonna have to change too or something?
They did have.
Because it won't be just a straight line across the properties, existing properties.
Correct. Along the southern property, this will actually be a continuation of a previously abandoned area. So that will be a straight right of way. Along the westerly boundary line of Saval, that will jog back into 10 feet and go to the 50-foot right of way, so a little bit more than half of the block. But that would be on the owners to the north if they wanted to petition for that abandonment. Nothing we could do with this one.
Yeah, just to make everybody aware that they had conversation about that, but as far as I know, like you said, nobody was opposed. We didn't hear from anybody,
Correct.
so, okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
You need to call for any public comment.
Okay, is there any public comment? Looks like George might have some. Okay, George.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. My biggest concern is the selective enforcement. People on the planning commission have no expertise, don't take the time to read the rules and regulations, and people are selectively given approvals or they're not. I have a concern on the 10-foot abandonment. It should be only 5 foot. Years ago, I put in the sidewalk, got permission from the city. I wanted to narrow it down a little more than what it is. And they said, no, follow the state radius. I did that. And then they sued me. Sat on it for 5 years. And then did nothing. Just had me stewing. No, you have rules and regulations, you stick to them. In this case, the lady does have a problem. But giving away 10 feet of county property is not gonna get it. 5 feet should be within the fire code minimum, and I don't have a problem with that. But we need to be consistent, whether it's the city or the county, and you need to start putting people on these boards that know what they're doing, and not worry about when George's time is up in 3 minutes. We need to be consistent. 10 feet is too much. Not that I don't feel for it, I do. But I've been a victim, and I don't like it. I want equal protection. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Okay, hearing that, go ahead, is somebody on the phone?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Burton. I just want to say the assessor's office doesn't have any objections to any of this matter.
Okay.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Anybody on the commission got a comment? If not, I'll look for a motion to, motion to approve. Do I have a motion to approve this?
Move to approve.
Motion by Travis,
Second?
second by Lori. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passed unanimously. Okay, we're gonna go back to page 3 and do the 10 o'clock, which is the snipping around 17 public hearing. Item 1 is the public hearing, presentation, discussion, and public input on the preliminary designs of each of the 3 Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act as SNPMA Round 17 Park Improvement Projects, the Jack Taylor Park Phase 2, the Ruth Memorial Mining Park, and the Courthouse Park / Duck Pond remodel. Elizabeth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, I have Tabitha Hamilton here to help me. If you'll all look that direction, you will see that we have 3 projects. We have them in the order of the Jack Taylor Phase 2. We have the Ruth Mining Memorial Park, and we have the Duck Pond renovation. And we have Cody Howick with Civil Science, who is on the phone and who is going to talk us through these 3 different projects, what we are proposing. Now, this is the current ongoing phase, and so these are the proposals before we actually start moving forward. And so this is just our public scoping, public hearing to get any input you may have before we actually go ahead and start the process of getting into the construction phase. So Cody, there you are. We've got the drawings. We're gonna start with the Jack Taylor Phase 2.
Okay, perfect. Can everyone hear me all right, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Perfect, thank you. Just quickly, introduction. My name is Cody House with Civil Science. I've worked in White Pine County prior to these projects. I apologize for not being there in person. I just had some things come up. Ultimately, I'd like to let the commission know we've worked with county staff, stakeholders, town board members, city staff with Ely City, and they've been very involved and very helpful up to date. So, kind of give you a big picture. You guys have done a lot of SNPMA projects. It's about an 8-stage process. We're in stage 2. So this is kind of formulating the project and concepting it. Kind of give you an idea of where we are to date. We had an initial meeting where we met with county staff, stakeholders, we received input, we toured the site, we got all the previously completed information for these parks and compiled it. We did the site surveys, and then we developed alternatives for each of these sites. After just a couple weeks ago, we met with staff and stakeholders and went through these alternatives. And what you're seeing today is kind of, here's what we liked about this, here's what we didn't like about this alternative, and it's a mesh of what we, the final preferred alternative. And so hopefully that paints a picture of where we're at in the process. And then just kind of stepping through each park now. It looks like you have Jack Taylor up first.
Yes.
Please keep in mind too, with the, obviously the county's navigated this process before, but there are set deliverables with the SNPMA funding. So we don't have a lot of wiggle room when it comes to what we put in the park. It's kind of where and how it flows throughout the park. And so these concepts have the deliverables listed out to the side and where we would locate them for the park. So as far as Jack Taylor goes, a couple of big things there would be a new restroom building, new pavilion.
Can you catch up?
Kind of a new group grill area. And then we plan on relocating the swings out there so they're within the existing playground area, creating a new playground area. Also, with the concept plan, we give some image boards to kind of give you an idea of what we're thinking when it comes to what amenities you would see in there. So, kind of would like to open it up for questions or concerns on the Jack Taylor Park. Obviously, we have a meeting tomorrow with City Council as well on this.
Is the brown area dirt and the green area grass?
The brown area is
With the playground?
rock landscape.
Yeah.
So it's a very low maintenance landscape with some shrubs possibly. And then the green is solid.
It's, okay, that's fine, thank you.
Okay.
In the existing playground, that's wood chips, or what is that?
It's dirt.
The
Did you
brown
hear that,
area
Cody?
with it.
What was that, Elizabeth?
I think think that, Richard Howe is referring to the brown area in the playground, that's not dirt and rock.
Yeah, brown area in the playground is the chips, the fall material you'll see around the playground area. That's required by law.
That's all I have.
Any other questions?
Looks good.
Okay,
Looks great.
We'll move on to the Ruth Memorial Park now. Kind of give you a quick rundown of this one. We met with the town board member and worked through some concepts. We have a clean slate out there pretty much. There's a little piece of playground equipment, but some of the major deliverables on this are what we wanted to make it into is like a memorial / veterans park for those that have been killed in the mine as well as the veterans in the area. So you'll see a shelter to help house displays, kind of that main central area. We also have an iconic kind of vertical sign to help draw people to that are passing up to the mine, be able to draw them to the site with possibly some flagpoles there for commemorating veterans. And then part of the Nipalima deliverables were also a little pavilion, picnic area, and volleyball court, playground, and fire pit area. With that being said, there's also a image board for that one, kind of help you understand what you see in that park. And obviously, as we go through the process, it'll change a little bit, but this is kind of our vision and kind of our preliminary design on where we're going with things. So, and obviously, everything will be budget driven based on the budget available for the project.
also, one of the considerations in this project was that we were trying to keep the amount of watering down because of the increases that we're seeing to water the park. So this is to prevent a whole lot of, lawn, and there is some greenery, but it's basically rockscape.
Yes, good point, Elizabeth. And that kind of fits the theme of the mine too. So we'll play off that theme and make it feel like a completed space and park.
Are there any questions on the Ruth Mining Memorial Park? Comments?
I do like it.
All right.
Okay, good. And my favorite, last but not least, we got the Duck Pond renovation, which is Nipalima County Courthouse Park. As part of this, we met several times with staff and talked through the issues they have, the maintenance issues they have, and then some of the major deliverables obviously is ADA accessibility around the facility and creating a boardwalk for waterfowl viewing, as well as covered seating areas where you could watch the ducks and the animals there. Another important deliverable on this would be the reconstruct the historic features of the pond. So we actually did a little research on what that pond used to look like, and I believe there's a picture of it in your courthouse. And so we kind of are trying to mimic that historic feel of that pond. And then also keep, obviously from a maintenance standpoint, it's important we have that site secure where people can't get in there, so there's some security fencing around it, as well as a duck pond fountain, and then just interpretive signage and boardwalks around that pond. So I'll be honest, I really like how this one turned out.
It's beautiful.
So with the habitat island in the middle, are you taking out the existing rock thing that is more like sprays the water? You know what I'm talking about in there?
Yes.
Yeah, so we met with the staff on that, and based on the historic pictures of that pond, that was never there. Back in, I think the picture we saw was in 1920. There was an actual just fountain in there. So based on the maintenance of that what's there right now, and it just felt like a great idea to remove that, put in what you would have found back in 1920, and get that look back.
Is that your focus, to revert this duck pond area to 1920?
No, not 1920, but if you look at the historic pictures, there was just a fountain in the middle that sprayed water up. It wasn't a big structured type fountain.
So we're not going to have a fountain, is that correct?
Yes, we will have a fountain of some sort.
Okay.
It's in that corner.
It's
Up
in
near
the
the
corner, it's-
library.
Yeah, it's up here
Yeah.
in this rocky area.
Number 3.
No, it's,
Number 6.
it's,
Right up by the
Yeah.
corner of the
On the
library.
Oh, I see it, I see it.
isn't there a spray? Move your
So the
feet.
idea there too is that'll help, turn the water over a little bit,
Okay.
help habitat there and help that water quality a little better.
So that's
Kind
where,
of give it that artesian look
Like
that's flowing out.
historic features?
that's the fountain, number 2. Correct, Cody?
Cody,
Well,
is
it
number
says
2 the fountain?
Number 6 is duck pond.
Number 6 is, yeah, it says.
Says right
I
there.
thought 2 was the,
Fountain.
2 has nothing.
I thought there
I
was
still
maybe
don't know
one
exactly where we'll
like
put
a
that.
little-
We'll put that based on how we're gonna pump the water and what, but there will be a fountain somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good, that was my concern. Okay.
and from a maintenance standpoint, we have that cage in there anyway that we have to change out yearly. So this will allow us to eliminate that, because it's kind of an eyesore when you look into it.
Yeah.
And then the other problem we have with a fountain like it is, once winter hits, you can't use that fountain anyway because the ice builds up on it and it's soft. You can pick a rock and you can pick it out of that fountain, so it definitely needs to be removed for sure.
Good point, Bill. And then we have an image board that goes with that, that gives you a taste of what you can see in that, so.
Looks great.
So are there any questions on this last project from the commission?
Anyone?
No, it's just beautiful.
And this
Good,
is,
we're excited to get rolling on it. If you do have questions or concerns, you could feel free to reach out to me or Tabitha, and she could get a hold of me on anything you may have.
I have one last question. When do you anticipate starting on all these projects?
So, that's a good question. Well, now that we have the concept completed and we've gone through the public scoping and public involvement phases, that triggers design and environmental. So based on the environmental, however long that takes, we could see construction starting late summer possibly, but depending on, I anticipate a few hiccups in the environmental in the duck pond, so it may be next spring. We'll just have to see how that goes and keep you informed along the way.
and this is a public hearing, so I would also like to invite the public to comment if anybody in the audience has, or on the phone, has any thoughts, ideas, comments that they'd like to provide.
I was just curious about one thing. Where do we put the ducks while this is being built? You taking those home, Bill?
To your home, yes. We were looking at doing across the street where the bonfire is proposed for this coming year, because the maintenance department has water right there up on the hill, and somehow build out a dish or a bowl that we can put some water in it and line it for a temporary habitat for the ducks.
Yeah, Terry Reck is building us a berm right there to put the fire in, so that's going down the line to be a berm about 2 to 3 feet deep for water to flow into it. He doesn't want to carry the water, but he's gonna build this for free. It's on the South County. It's right where the old annex was.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
And I believe there's a budget in this grant for a temporary duck containment of some
Yes, there is.
sort, so.
Any other questions, thoughts, concerns?
George?
Pass that around when you see it. you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in regards to agenda item 1D1 regarding the round 17 of the simple improvement projects, the Jack Kidder Park Phase 2 should be dropped altogether. The children's park should never be built across a working railroad, causing yourself a possible hazard there. It is not fenced. Some of the improvements on the west side along Avenue A have been encroached on private property. You can't do that, but you're doing it. Avenue A is private property. On the north side of the park, someone has parked an old derelict boat with broken windows. That reported for 2 years. This last photo I took in March of this year. You can't have that. What are you going to do? On the north side, I just mentioned the boat. That area is not fenced off. It is a dangerous, attractive nuisance. You want to clean up the town? Why do it selectively? Here you're putting it right next to a park. That park initially was down in Central Lee in a, I'm going to say a poor zone. Kids that didn't have the economic opportunity, or their families didn't, that others did. So you pulled that park out of there and put it right next to a working railroad. Baloney, that park should have been put back in Central Lee where it came to. You're not doing that. You gotta address the issue for those people that are economically challenged and don't have the same opportunity as others. Let's see. I want to remind you of that tragic accident that happened when the annex was torn down by a non-caring negligent contractor, causing substantially bodily harm to a young child. That just happened over here. All they had to do was put up a fence. Failed to do that. That young child was snow sledding down that hill. It's a pile of debris, metal. Major operations come out of that. And here you're putting a park right next to a working railroad, no fencing whatsoever, and it isn't that this is not the first time that I've warned you people about that, let alone the city. I don't know who the engineer that did phase 1, but he needs to be blackballed. Where's the due diligence? You have a safety factor that needs to be addressed, and it's not being addressed to this day. I'm against that particular park and its expansion. The other two I don't have a problem with. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment on the phone or in the building? Hearing none and seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a clarification of one of the false statements just made. Avenue A is no longer private property. I had a recent conversation with the previous owner of that property, and that is now under city control.
Okay, thank you.
The violation of the law took place at the time.
We just
The
had a
fact that
comment.
it may not, and I want to see the proof.
It has been remedied.
I want to see the proof. All
Talking to
hearsay.
the city.
All hearsay.
We're moving on. Page
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachas reporting.